Okay. I am happy to introduce our next speaker, Ms. Iman Bilal. She is an American-born and was raised in Saudi Arabia. She is one of 17 children, and she's fluent in Arabic. She recently completed her computer science degree at PSU and is now working as a technical consultant at Jama software in Portland. She's here to tell us how she got into CS in the first place and what advice she might have for anyone thinking of going into computer science. So I would like you all to please give her a warm welcome to Miss Iman Bilal.
Nope, you're set. All right. There's a huge hole behind me. I'm trying not to fall. No, real talk, I'm clumsy. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for having me, Sunset High. I'm excited to tell you all about how I got into computer science. I started my path in computer science 3.5 years ago. I definitely wasn't a nerdy or geeky kid growing up. I played with my toes until I was 12. Like, I was super lost. I was always a really good student, though, right? My parents had moved from the States to Saudi Arabia when they became Muslim and decided to raise their family there. And so me and my 16 siblings all grew up in Saudi Arabia in Arabic schools, and so that's how I'm fluent in Arabic. And 17 kids is a lot of mouths to feed. Like, if you think of that, that's like 2 fully equipped kickball teams, right? So there's a lot that you sacrifice when you have 17 kids, and my parents are probably my best examples of what truly being selfless means. They never once put themselves or their needs before any of their kids. They always made sure we had food, we had clothes, and we were going to school, which is all you can ask for as a kid. But with that selflessness, you kind of grow up really just dirt poor. You have the necessities, but you don't really have any of the extra stuff simply because you just can't afford it for 17 kids. And so me and my siblings would always have these conversations, and we would say, when I grow up and I make it, I'm gonna be doing this, I'm gonna be able to, I'm gonna be making bank, I'm gonna support the family, support my parents, and these really, really ambitious dreams. I now have 33 nieces and nephews, so the dream of maintaining the entire family is a little far-fetched, but it's still ambitious. You want to take care of your family and provide a better life for yourself than you had as a kid, and definitely taking care of your parents as they grow older. So all these things are in our minds as we were growing up. And so, like I said, I was always a good student. Straight A just wasn't really the, sit at home and play on computers type. And so I was living in Saudi Arabia, and the natural thing is to become a doctor. You got good grades, become a doctor, right? That was the highest thing you could achieve in school. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna become a doctor when I graduate. Then I was a junior, and I went to the East Coast and visited my mom's family, and my granddad was really, really sick at the time. He had emphysema and a whole bunch of other problems going on. He was a smoker, die-hard smoker. And so we visited him, and it was just already hard to see someone that you really love and care about in such a bad shape, in such bad shapes. And one day he got up, and he was on oxygen tank, and one day he got up and the oxygen tank had run out, and the replacement one, the valve was open, and so all the oxygen had seeped out. And so now they're calling the company, frantic, he literally can't breathe without his oxygen tank. I'm in the next room just bawling my eyes out, just hysterical, right? No sense of grip, nothing. And it was kind of at that moment I realized, maybe becoming a doctor is not for me. I don't know if I'm set out to deal with people in pain on a daily basis. I would freak out. And so I said, oh shoot, if not becoming a doctor is my thing, then I don't know what my thing is, because that's all I set my life up to be. And so shortly after I graduated high school, I was just like in this deep depression for like about 6.5 weeks. Just literally almost paralyzed, like my body could not function. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Just no plans, no thought. And so I was just in a really bad shape after I graduated. And then one of my sisters called me and said, oh, they have this like teaching gig at one of these English centers. Do you want to come teach a kids course? I said, sure, you know, it's money. And so it's summer, nothing else to do, why not? So I teach the course, love it. The kids were like almost unbelievably awesome. Like, you know, where you're expecting kids, you're expecting the kids that you have to deal with, that you're gonna have to wrangle, but like all of them were good. And so it was just, wow, like I love teaching kids after that summer. And so she said, well, I know one of my friends has a kindergarten school and, you know, she'd love to have you as an English teacher. Literally the credentials were you spoke English to become an English teacher in Saudi Arabia. It was that easy. And so I said, okay, fake it till you make it. And so I went in my interview, you know, did really good, and she hired me. And so I worked for a year as an English teacher. And I love the kids so much. I love their honesty, how much they made me laugh. Just as a work environment, that was just like an absolutely prime work environment for me. And I said, okay, this is definitely what I want to do. I'm gonna sign up, I'm gonna go to school and study early childhood education. Not only did I not know that that major at that point existed, but that there was universities in Saudi Arabia that offered that major. So I said, it's all aligned, it's all meant to be. And I definitely had a lot of my friends who, I would say, criticized me. You know, I got a lot of comments of, oh, so you're gonna become a nanny? Or, but you were such a good student in school, like, I really thought you were gonna do something better. As if teaching kids was like, you know, they equated teaching kids trash, just, you know, as if I was like no ambition in life, nothing. And to me, it was the greatest thing I wanted to do, you know, mold the minds of the future. And I didn't care what they said. I went into early childhood education and I studied that for about 2 years before enrollment numbers were super low. And so they ended up wanting to shut down the department. Ironically, there were like 4 freshmen. When I say enrollment numbers were low, like non-existent for a university. And so they said, okay, we need to shut down this department, it's not making money, which translates into, yeah, we'll get you through the program, but we'll like pull in a math teacher, pull in a geography teacher to like teach you guys the rest of your courses. Like that's how just things roll in Saudi. They were gonna invest much more into the program. And so I said, no, that's not how I'm going out. I'm not doing 4 years of just like, you know, subpar education. And because I was paying money, it was a private college. And so they had a transfer program with Mount Holyoke College in the East Coast. And they had a really great early childhood education department, and they were all for it. And so the lady, I was introduced to her, and she said, well, why don't you apply to Mount Holyoke and come over to us? So I did, I got in, went to school there for about a year. This was a very rich, all-girls private school, which coming from Saudi Arabia couldn't be the furthest situation. Like, I went to an all-girls school, but this was like ritzy all-girls school. So it was just like on steroids. And the environment, I kind of felt like I was losing myself. I didn't really feel like I was Iman, as I knew her. You know, when you start doing things that just are so out of character, you're just like, oh, was that me? I said that? And so I said, I'm not liking the person I'm becoming. This isn't a good environment for me. So I went back home, didn't know what I wanted to do, knew I wasn't meant for the East Coast, or at least that school. And so now I start, so now I'm thinking of different schools, and I was looking into schools in San Diego, and just all over the place, not really having any kind of purpose. And we ran into just really unfortunate circumstances in Saudi Arabia. They changed a lot of the regulations that allow foreigners to reside in the country. And with these changes, they resulted in about over 1 million people losing their residency status and effectively needing to leave the country, ASAP Rocky. And me and my family were, you know, part of that group. I had to leave within probably a matter of 2 weeks from learning these regulations were, and so it was a really bad situation. You're leaving home as you know it. You're leaving your family. You don't really know where you're gonna go. You just know you have to leave now. And so I knew I wanted to come back to the States to finish studying. And so I contacted my brothers. They were living here in Oregon. Yeah, you can come stay with us. So I moved here in 2012 and, moved in with one of my brothers, got a job as a server. Didn't last very long. Something about being a server and knowing the menu kind of go hand in hand, and I couldn't memorize that menu for anything. Like, you couldn't pay me enough to memorize that menu. And so I get a text one day from my boss saying, oh, you don't need to come in today. And I'm thinking, like, oh, it's really slow, I don't have to come in today, woohoo! And my brother, who worked at the same restaurant, he comes back later that day and he was like, oh, did you speak to Sasha? I said, yeah, he just said, I didn't have to come in today. He's like, no, honey, ever. You won't be returning. And so I was like, oh, I didn't know. But yeah, that's the only job I've ever been let go. And rightfully so. But it was okay. So I knew I needed to get another job really fast. And so I was going to school at PCC at the time, just taking some of my general courses, because they force you to start from scratch again. And I went to their, what is it called? The poster job postings. And I literally screenshotted every one of them and blasted my resume to all of them. Didn't even look up companies, what they did. I was just like, can I do it? Receptionist, yes. This, no. This, yes. Like, literally. No qualifications. All I had on my resume was taught English for a year in Saudi Arabia. Like, no one cared about that. And so finally I get a call back. It's from this guy. His name is Qazi Ahmed. So our names definitely have something in common. But I didn't care. I was like, shoot, yeah, he called me back. So I'm blowing him away. It was for a receptionist gig at a software company. No idea it was a software company, what they did. But knew for damn sure I could be a receptionist, without a doubt. And so I said, okay, I'll become, went in, blew them away. He's like, yeah, he liked me, hired me on. A couple months in, I'm now getting, better at my job, and they're like, oh, she can actually function. And so they upped me to customer support and brought in another lady as the receptionist. And so I started taking support calls, learned more about their products, started relating things like, you guys are in charge of building this website and building these products, and there's coding and this whole world just, I had to learn about. Just absolutely clueless. Like, I had seen computers. I knew how to use these devices. Never once thought, well, how do they actually work? Literally, that idea never popped into my head before learning at this software company. And so he pulls me into his office one day and says, oh, how's school? What are you studying? I said, early childhood education. And he said, ugh, why are you studying that? Immediately, I was incensed. I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna like you. We're gonna have issues. And before I could respond, he says, you're not gonna make any money in that. And so I kind of shut up and think, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let him continue. And he says, yeah, if you're thinking of increasing that quality of life or to whatever you're imagining, he said, early childhood education is not gonna do it for you. If you're planning on, oh, I need to support my parents when they're older, that's not going to be the gig you're in. And so he said, why don't you go into computer science? I said, I like math, but I'm not really a science person. And he said, well, why don't you give it a try? You don't know anything about it, so why don't you go research about it and learn more about it? And I said, okay. And I did. And I was looking at the differences in salaries, and that alone just blew my mind. I was like, wait, these are averages I could be making in 3 years? And that was a very big motivation, right? But then I knew technology is everywhere. I can go back to Saudi Arabia and still do that. I could go to China and still do that. I could go to South Africa and still do, software development. It's just everywhere now. And so that was major for me. I wanted to study something that I didn't know if I was gonna end up living in the US, and I wanted something that I could go out and not be restricted to the US. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna take my first course. If I do good, I'm gonna go with it. And so I took my first course, and I think about 2 weeks in, switched my major. I was like, yep, we're doing computer science. Whatever that is, we're prepared. We're gonna go for it. And I had a lot of my siblings that really doubted whether or not I should make that move, because, well, Iman, you're 23 years old. You're 2.5 years into a major already. You've started and stopped about 5 times already, within those 2.5 years. You've moved through 3 different colleges. Like, is this really the best thing? Maybe you just need to finish. Maybe you just need to settle down. All of that was true. But they were circumstances that I couldn't control, right? Like me leaving Saudi, out of my hands. Me just completely losing myself in Boston. Wasn't expected, And so just things, life happens, and it doesn't always go the way you expected it's gonna go. But I knew that it was gonna be a better route than early childhood. And so I worked really, really, really hard for 3 years, and nonstop, summers. I never took less than, the first couple terms I took 3 classes, and after that I never took less than 4. My last year I was taking 5 courses, which is psycho. Never do that. But I was on a mission. I was just like, I need to get to that end line. Like, I need to get to that finish line and just be done with this, right? And so I did it. It seemed like it would never end, but I graduated last fall. And I was really fortunate to have some of the mentors that I had along the way. Like my professor, Carla Fant, I don't know if any of you have heard of her, is phenomenal. She really taught me what it is to be a professional. She exudes just intelligence. She made me realize that it was okay to have a voice and not necessarily be looked at as a bee, right? And you can be confident and know what the heck you're talking about, right? John Schroeder, he was one of my TAs. He made me know that it's okay when you reach something that's super challenging to not be like, I can't get it, it's so hard. He's like, move past that, okay? Stop being frumpy, and you'll get it. I get frumpy. I don't like not understanding things. And so he taught me to just tone down and just really bunker down and get through things. He got me into Jama software, which I'm extremely grateful for. It's been an amazing experience. It's far surpassed any reasonable expectation I could have had for a post-college position, but it really has. The people I get to work with are really amazing. My manager is a beast, so I'm very thankful that I'm a part of his team. I'm their technical consultant, which kind of just means I'm their API consultant, and I'm responsible for like data migrations. And so recently I completed building 2 migration tools. And if anyone has ever worked with data, you know just how difficult it is to wrangle unstructured data into a structured data database or system. But it's been really challenging and really fun. It's a little different from typical dev jobs in that it's a solo gig. I'm a technical consultant on like the services and solutions team. But it has its own challenges. I design the software, I build it, I test it, I QA it, and so I'm learning a lot more than I ever would have thought I would in the first 3 months out of school. But it's been a pretty great experience, and honestly, CS has literally changed my life and the quality of life that I am able to live today. And, I hope to encourage more females into the field. If anyone ever tells you, but it's a male-dominated field, facts, it is a male-dominated field, not for the right reason, right? Women were the founders of computer science. If any one of you has ever run a program, the first thing you do after you write your program is what? You compile it. Well, the first compiler was actually built by a woman, right? Grace Hopper, Amazing Grace, look her up. She's just a beast in herself, right? So, yeah, she really is. Her list of achievements are insane. So I would rather have her image in my head walking into work than any Steve Jobs or Bill Gates. Facts. So good luck to you all. I wish you all the best of luck on your future endeavors. CS is awesome. It'll give you a lot of opportunities and open up a lot of doors for you. And if you ever have any questions, I would like to be a resource. If anyone would like to reach out to me, Mr. Galbraith and Ms. Gear have my contact information. If you want to know what PSU is like and what the CS program was like, definitely reach out.
Though if you have 1 or 2 questions right now, we could probably do that.
Yes, if you have 1 or 2 questions right now. Sorry, I went over.
You're good. Anybody?
Because I was so short at home. Any questions?
Guys, you're good?
I won't judge you.
Nobody likes to be the first one.
Yes.
How is going into PSU like?
It was easy. It was an easier transition than my school in Boston, at least. I love the professors there, to be honest, in not just computer science, but I had really positive experiences with the professors overall. And, you know, for me, it was important to just have a laid-back kind of vibe to the school where, you know, it wasn't super, super competitive or wasn't super, super judgmental. And PSU is just like, you can literally be any of those, whatever you want, and still fly by. Like, it's a good school to be whatever you want to be in, right? You want to be a nerd, you're gonna be nerd. You want to be a party house, you're gonna be party house. You want to be, like, you can literally do everything because it's a commuter school. And so it's not like it's a focused, like, concentrated environment. So it was a really positive experience overall.
I was just wondering, do you think after you changed to computer science, do you think you still would have liked or enjoyed teaching children?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For facts. I can see myself becoming a teacher at some point. I don't think how, absolutely, yeah. I don't think how, like, I would love to teach computer science, right? Because I felt like, well, it changed my life. I want to give that to someone else and have it change their lives in whatever way it will, right? And so, but I definitely need real world experience before that. So that is something I would love to start, like a coding school or for kids, or introducing like CS from 3rd grade, right, instead of 10th grade, because it's like you know those programmers that have been coding since they've been 7. You know, I started when I was 23, so I'm just like, I'm so late, like, to the game. But no, there's room for everyone at any point to join in, for sure.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.